Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of In the Driver's Seat with dubizzle. On this episode we'll be talking about the brand new Landcruiser. That's right, there's a new one, but is it coming to the United Arab Emirates? We don't know. Or do we? There's also a new Nissan, and by that we mean there's a new Nissan Z. But what is it? We'll find out as well. And it seems to be the Mercedes Benz have done a full 180 with their engines. But what engines have they replaced? Let's find out. As always, it's myself, Chris, and I'm joined by Fawad.
Hello.
We had our own first little live session before. That was quite fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't know how many of you guys saw it. It was nice, to be honest, to go first time live. And for me, it was the first time ever to go live on a podcast. So
I think you did a marvelous job. You
Thank
did
you
much
very
better than
much.
I did because I guffed right at the end.
No, it was fine. I think we just ended it a little bit short. That was.
I know, we probably could have gone on for hours upon hours.
Definitely easy.
We probably would have bored everybody to death about talking about
was
random car stuff. So let's talk about some of the biggest news that came out a couple of weeks ago. And that, of course, is the new Toyota Landcruiser. That's right, there's a new one. However, before we go any further, let's clarify this because it's not actually the Landcruiser that we know here in the GCC.
Yeah.
It is the Prado.
Yeah, the Prado. The Prado is called Prado Landcruiser. It's anyways.
In certain markets, well, even here, technically, it's called the Toyota Landcruiser Prado, but we all refer to it as the Prado.
Correct, yeah.
You know, I've grown up with it being the Prado. Everyone is synonymous that it is the Prado, but it was missing for a long time in a lot of markets, and now it somehow has returned. I like how I said somehow. No, it has returned.
It has returned.
It has returned.
I love the car. Honestly speaking, I love the boxy shape, the rigid body. You know, it feels back like a Land Cruiser, like the old Land Cruiser. Like the rigidity of the car and the angles of it, the lines of the car. I just like it.
It looks fantastic, but I've got to say there's a lot of cars that look somewhat similar to it. You know, if you look at the Bronco,
the
Defender, the new
Defender
one.
as well, very close to Defender.
What else is boxy? BAIC have a number of boxes on wheels as well.
Yeah,
they've got that thing.
But it'll still be a Land Cruiser, man. You know,
True.
It's a nice car. People like this car.
Yes, and it's the biggest question that we've heard in the past couple of weeks is it actually coming to the UAE and is it coming to the GCC? Interesting enough, there are some outlets out there that are saying that the car will come to the Middle East. I'm not going to get into too much detail of what country that is, but there is at least one country in the region that will get it, but not in the GCC. So technically, yes, it will come, but for now, it's not known if it's coming to the UAE or if it's coming to GCC just yet. Because I could imagine if it does, well, we're going to have the top of the range one, and then we're going to have this one. And I think I know what everyone is going to buy.
They're going to buy this one.
Like crazy.
But put it
Like you said,
in very simple terms, you know?
I'm pretty sure.
Even the engine of it, even though there isn't a V6 anymore. It's a 2.7, but it is a hybrid. That's what I heard as well.
These damn hybrids.
Yeah, well.
Like, why? Why do we need a hybrid in an off-road SUV? Why? There's no reason for this. If it breaks in the desert, how are we going to fix it? It's not like I can pull a battery from the sky. Who's going to fix it? Who's going to fix it? I can't, put a wrench in it.
How are they going to tow you with a...
Exactly. I mean, it's not as bad as having an electric version, but still, if I have a hybrid power unit in the desert, I can't fix that, right? Okay, I can't fix anything. I don't know why I'm getting angry. But from a point of view where people can, tinker around with their own things, if that hybrid system fails on the car and they're out there doing bashing, you're losing an immense amount of power, possibly.
Yeah.
And then your car's heavier for no reason. So...
And then it stops working properly in the desert. I don't know, but they should have done a good job, In the end, they're Toyota. Toyota, they do a good job in the engines. They don't break down very much. Actually, there was an old advert of Toyota there where they put a couple of cars on the road. They showed a couple of cars on the side of the road pulled up, and the cars are broken down. And then the advert was said, "Have you ever seen a broken down Toyota?" Which is very true, to an extent. I haven't seen a lot of broken down Toyotas on the side of the road.
What about your Toyota?
Never broke down.
Really?
Never broke down. Honestly, even the time when my battery ran off, it gave me enough to give me the last one. Till I reached the tires to the tire and battery shop. So it was fine. It was cool.
They just last forever.
They do.
And what's interesting as well is that there is actually another version that's going to Japan as well. It's the same car, but it looks like the old kind of boxy ones. It's got that beige color.
True.
It looks like that, and there's even a heritage edition which throws back all the way to the
All the
ST
way to
here,
the old one. Yeah.
and it looks amazing. The headlights, when I saw them first away, I immediately thought they were Defender.
Yeah, the second one, I liked it
And
as well.
the interior, to me, it just screams Bronco. But let's see if it comes here.
Let's see if it comes. Another interesting car, like you were saying, Chris, is the Nissan Z. And I don't know if you like the Nissan 370 and the old 350 Z, which are icons, I think, especially in the drifting department, if you like JDM and sport cars. But then the Nissan Z, where they introduced it a long time, I think, with the Supra, almost the same time with the Supra, a little bit newer actually than so after the Supra was launched. But now they made a special edition of that car, which is a Nismo.
And what do you get for the Nismo? Because this is the most exciting part.
This is, I think, there's 20 extra horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. Not much, but there's a lot of enhancements in the body, I think, in the suspension, in the looks of the Nismo, the rims, and the Nismo lines on the car.
Don't forget the red striping as well.
The red striping. It is the signature of the Nismo, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it is cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Nissan's 350, 370, the Z lineup, the Fair Ladies. I like the old ones. They were very nice.
Fair Lady.
I'm too large to fit in them. That's why I don't like them. It's an opinion. I have them. The other thing is, though, it is not available in the manual. You can only get it with a 9-speed automatic. Yes.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a disappointment, to be honest, because they're competing with the Supra again, and the Supra comes with a manual.
But it kind of makes sense because people don't want to drive stick anymore. There are so many people that don't want to drive stick anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, especially as an everyday driver.
Of the two producers, it's a 50-50 split. One would drive a manual, the other no, they drive an automatic.
True.
And they're of a much younger generation, which of course is what their car is targeted towards, right? A lot of young people nowadays, they don't want to drive stick. You know, it's much easier to drive manual. It's much easier
to drive an automatic, yeah.
Automatic, not manual.
You know what? Look, if this is your only car and you're driving an everyday drive back to work and everywhere you're gonna drive it, I understand to not want a manual because it's a lot of hassle, especially in the traffic, you know, and Dubai traffic, especially, and you'd be clutching down and up and the whole time. But if it's a second car, it's a weekend car, it's a car that you're taking out to drive, to enjoy the drive, there's much more feel with the manual, no matter how good your automatic is.
True. Now, speaking of enjoying a car, Mercedes announced that the C63 and the E63 a couple of months ago would only have a 4-cylinder engine. It would be a turbo 4. It would generate... It's okay, you can cry afterwards, don't worry. We'll get your box tissues. It would still generate somewhere close to 600 horsepower, which is insane when you think about it. However, they have done a full 180, and they are now saying that the V8 will return in 2026. Now, I wonder why they decided to do that.
This is the best news I've ever heard, but...
I have to say...
I love it. I love it. Because everyone is getting rid of the V8s into V4 cylinders, double hybrid or whatever they're putting in them. And I'm like, get back the V10s. You remember we were talking in the live stream. Where are the V10s? Or at least the V8s. Please don't cut off V8s. Everything is coming in 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder maximum now. I'm glad that they're getting with the V8s back. For the at least, I'm sure they made a way to find out how to reduce the emissions with the 8-cylinder engine.
Of course, 100% they did.
Which is just perfect.
It's just that thing. Could you imagine you pull up somewhere and you got, right, I've got my C63, and you're comparing it to, what are the model codes again before this one? I don't know anything. What are the model codes that Mercedes used for
the model codes? I'm not sure about them, but I know it's 63. They started the years, you know.
Yeah, so you can imagine lining up against these things, right? Let's say you go to a nice meet with all these nice people that own C63s or E63s or whatever, and you pull up in a 4-cylinder. Well, they've all got these deep grumbling V8s, and then you've got this, basically a box. Yeah. It's like a little box that has got a little turbo on it, and it's, okay, it's generating a huge amount of power. I mean, 600-something horsepower out of a box is impressive. Yeah. But a V8 is more impressive, right?
It is.
There are so many companies that are getting
sound more better.
Exactly, and there's so many companies that are getting rid of these massive V8s, and it's such a shame. Look at how big engines were back in the day. You know, you got V8s were completely normal, and they had these really small displacements, like 3.5 liter, 2 point something. You know, it was ridiculous. And nowadays we're getting these turbo 4s everywhere.
Yeah, like 4.0 was a 12-cylinder or something like that, you know? Like, it's crazy. Like, that 12-cylinder engine, that's a huge block of an engine.
And the thing is, when you said emissions, right? Now, I know a lot of companies are being hit where they have to have this sort of emission ratio or emission target across their entire lineup. Well, everything that Mercedes currently produces has got a 4-cylinder as it is already.
True.
Surely, you know, putting a V8 back in it's not going to affect you that much. And, you know, skip it. We like the V8s here. You know, they're going to sell like hotcakes, but we still have to wait.
Almost 3 years, 2.5.
3 years, 2.5 years for the V8 to return. That means that we're going to have a 2-year generation of a generation of C63s. That will be the most bizarre.
23, 24, 25, right? 3 years?
So 3 years.
3 years.
It'll be the most bizarre timeline in the C63 history.
It would be.
V8. Also in the V8. What did the car manage to get a snip? The engine got cut in half or something on the way through?
It's actually very bold to go like from V8 to 4 cylinders. Like everyone else, like in the BMW, they went with the old M3 with the V8 to a 6-cylinder, which is fair enough because, you know, they cut off 2 cylinders, they put some more power, some turbos, and tuned it and produced almost the same horsepower. But to cut it in half, it's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe it's they've cut it in half and they put 2 engines in, or they put the engine
two 4 cylinders.
Exactly. So the engine is like they cut the V8 and they put one in this car and one in that car. So essentially, if the 2 cars come together, it would just be one big engine. Crash into each other and they'd be like the actual C63.
That's a very fun fact.
So let's move on now to our usual segment where we find an interesting car for sale on dubizzle. Now, the car that I originally found is now sold, which is very unfortunate. I actually wanted to buy the car, but I guess that didn't happen. I slept on it, which is like every single car that I buy, I just sleep on it and I never buy it, and then I regret the decision and I'm livid with myself. So it's the only person I can blame is me.
If you like a car,
great.
You
just
see
just
it,
rub it in.
test drive
just
it,
rub it in.
buy
Get the salt. Get the salt. Bring the salt. You know, and just put it here. Just rub it in nice and deep, yeah?
I regret it already so much.
Of course I regret it. What a day this is. What a way to ruin it.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go to what I found. So you stop being angry. I found a 1979 Range Rover. 2 doors. Okay. It's a 3.5 V8. Speaking of small cylinder,
And what's the price of it?
It's 235,000 dirhams.
Only 285,000 dirhams.
But the car only has 20,000. It's verified from the British Motor Company, and it has all the original documents with the mileage of the car, and it has a beautiful white color. They call it some kind of white and stuff like that, and a beige interior with the manual transmission and a huge chunk of transmission just sitting beside you. You know,
kind of like you could saddle
you can literally
like a horse.
fit someone inside of it. Like it's a beautiful car. I love it.
Would you buy it?
Depends how much money I've got. Like if I have money to
spare.
If
you had 286,000 dirhams,
No.
Why not?
Because I'd go buy the Supra, man. We discussed that many times.
You could buy the Range Rover and have 1,000 dirhams left over.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Damn.
Supra,
next time,
all the way.
What about
your thing?
What about a smart roadster? Have you ever seen one?
I have never seen one in real life.
Did you know that they existed?
I knew they existed, yeah.
They are so rare. I've seen one. I used to know someone who owned one as well.
Okay.
And it baffled me that this person actually owned one because I never saw it on the road up until recently. Not the same person. And now another one has popped up and it's come up for sale.
Okay.
But this supposedly is one of one. So there are no other ones in the country, and it's a Brabus edition.
Ooh.
That means it's been cranked. It's got that extra crank to it.
What is the engine?
And it's set. Well, it's a. How big were those engines? 700cc. So it's basically a motorcycle engine. That's it. It's
literally a motorcycle. It's less than a liter. It's like literally a cup, you know, a big cup. I think my gym bottle is the same as 700.
It's like, what, 7 of these, I think?
Not even. I think this is like 200 ml, so 3.5, 4 of these. Yeah.
So it's 3.5 cups. That's the engine. That's the engine displacement on it. And it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 3-cylinder engine. Yeah. And Brabus, obviously, you know, they're known for.
They're gonna tune a little bit in it.
So it looks really cool, actually. It's relatively affordable. It's only 46,000 ish dirhams, I think it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Just under 50k for something that you never see. I think it's so cool. Honestly,
yeah,
I would buy one, but as always, I can't fit in these cars. So you know.
It's a very small car, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not very smart.
It's not very smart.
Now the new ones are. They're very smart.
All right, just phone's ringing. Hello, dubizzle cars. Yeah, sure. You want to buy a car under warranty? Yeah, you know what? Even if you want to buy a used car under warranty, we have our value-added services where we can offer you the warranty for an extra amount, and on some cars we have it actually included with the car. Depends on the car. Yeah, sure. Of course, even a service contract you can get with us. 100%. I'll put you through one of our team and they will find you the best car. Anytime. Have a good day. Bye. We gotta disconnect this phone.
We really do.
Yeah.
It
keeps interrupting.
These things are Bluetooth as well, so what are we going to cut on it? Just throw the phone outside. Out the
Just
window.
throw it.
And that moves on to our last segment, which of course will be test our car knowledge. So the producers have kindly put 5 models in here. I briefly saw one of them because they were changing them and checking them in front of my eyes. So I know one of them has a letter K in it. I have the advantage of knowing one extra letter out of 5.
Go ahead, stop.
So, okay, I'm
Please
going to go
start,
first. Which one did I see now?
Trying to find the one you saw.
Yes, which one of these papers that are folded the exact same way did I find? I just keep picking. You know what? I'll just choose the first one. Maybe I get lucky. This is the one that has the letter K. It doesn't. It is the Ferrari P45. Ferrari P45. This doesn't sound like a car that was built for the road. This is definitely I have a feeling this is a car that was built for the racetrack only. I'm currently playing a game that is literally only Ferrari cars built over the past, I don't know how many years. And
Probably
that car
there's
is
3
somewhere.
of it in the world. Probably there's 3 of it in the world. Or 5, maybe, because B45.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and say this is some sports car that they built for GT racing at some point.
Yeah, that's not.
Whoa, I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay, 0. It's your turn to win.
I don't know this, actually. I didn't know that. If I had the same car, I would have lost as well.
I think I know what it might be now, actually, but I'll let that point slide.
Jaguar XJ220.
Ooh, that's a nice car. I like that.
Not really. I don't know it.
This was at one point in time, it was the fastest car in the world. We're talking about early 90s, like 94 or something like that. Okay. And I think it only held the record for like a year or 2. Okay. And then it was dethroned by the epic McLaren F1.
Yeah.
It is a V12 rear engine supercar. And it was hands down the coolest Jaguar that was built at that time. Oh, well, you don't know your Jags, do you?
No, not really. Your turn.
Shame. Do I get a point for that? Hey, I'm back on the board.
Point. Yeah,
and now you got nothing. All right. Where's the one that has the K in it? Or was that the one? That's the one that had the K in it, isn't it? They shake it up a bit. Okay. I've got the 911 Dakar. But which one? Because there's 2 of them. There was an old one that was built many years ago, and now there's a new one that they've kind of brought it back in. And you can get the iconic livery that I can't mention on camera for obvious reasons, and it looks amazing. But this is basically a 911 that's been lifted to race off-road. Yeah. And it's great to see that people are buying these and actually using them for off-road purposes. Because
it's a very interesting car to see in a rally, in Dakar rally, you know.
Have you seen one here yet?
I haven't seen one live, but I've seen them on the TV one day.
I haven't even seen a single one come up for sale yet on dubizzle.
Yeah?
I'm perplexed because they're out there for sale, but they're just not here yet.
Okay,
They must be changing hands secretly, but that is such a cool car.
There's some clubs for these guys, you know.
100%. They're all hidden behind closed doors, so we can't see them.
All right. So you got 2 out of 3, and I'm 0.
Okay, here we go.
Mercedes Benz CLK GTR. Okay, that's a fun car. You remember the CLK? They had the coupe of the E-Class. They made it, I think, in the 2000s, 2002, 2003. And they made one edition of it. It's a GTR. It was a very powerful car, obviously. That's why they called it the GTR. And I think that's what they replaced with the new GT, the new Mercedes GTR.
No, the CLK GTR was one step higher. Like that was their halo car, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that would be like AMG 1 level.
And if I'm not mistaken, this car had been the safety car once in either I'm not sure Formula 1 or Formula 3 or something else, but it was a safety car in one of the races. That's what I know about it.
Yes, no? Is that right? So you're wrong. I do know a fair bit about this car. Then there's something around, there's less than 30. 7, I think, of them are right-hand drive, which makes that even rarer. 1 or 2 of them are soft tops or convertible cars, and they did make real-life road-going ones. They were some of the most insane cars ever built. Do you remember GT1 racing back in the early 90s? Where they just, Mercedes, Porsche, everyone just threw huge amount of money on building these insane cars. There's a reason a lot of things got discontinued. There's a lot of reasons that we have these bans in place that you can't go crazy, cost caps on this. Mercedes, Porsche, guys, they went absolutely crazy, and the CLK GTR was one of those cars.
Okay, fair enough.
It was completely bananas. And if I remember correctly, it shares a single part with the actual road-going version.
Okay.
What it was
Only a
based
single
off
part.
of, which is either the headlight or some bumper, something really small. Other than that, it was literally built from the ground up.
Okay.
And this thing is just crazy what this is here. And I'm going to go for the last one here. I guess that's the one that had the K in it. No, wait. XJ.
No, XJ220.
That had it too. The Dakar had it. Ooh, a Dodge Viper ACR. Now, I think the ACR stands for American Club Racer. And this was sort of like a swan song to at least the final generation of the, was it 6th generation of the Viper? They didn't have many. Or was it 5 generations?
5.
The Viper in itself was a crazy car.
It was.
If you looked at it funny, you'd rip your face off. It was only manual. You cannot buy this with an automatic gearbox.
And you know, an interesting fact about the Viper as well, it came with an auto block as original manufacturer, which means that the rear wheels, they spin together all the time, which is why it was banned in a couple of countries, the old Viper, because the rear wheel spins all the time. The car is not very stable, you know, it just drifts like crazy.
Yeah.
And on that huge engine and that huge amount of horsepower.
Because I think, if I remember correctly, every generation didn't actually have active traction control.
True.
It had that thing missing, so you couldn't even register it at select markets. Yeah. The original engine was an 8.4 litre engine, V10. It's a bus engine, essentially.
It is.
You don't have that in a car. You put that in a
engine.
bus.
I love it.
With diesel running through its veins. Yeah. And it's such a shame that this doesn't exist anymore. They killed it off a number of years ago. There was even a spell of it where they called it the SRT Viper. So there's one model year that it's not a Dodge, it's an SRT because they were trying to test the waters there. But yeah, this was and I think they had one actually for every generation of the Viper.
The Viper, yeah.
There's also someone in the US that has a collection of Vipers. You know, we were talking about collection of Volvos, right? And this is what inspired me to do this, right? I'm never going to get anywhere close to what they have, that's for sure. This couple, and it's a husband and wife, by the way, and apparently the wife has more cars than the husband does.
Okay.
They have a collection of Vipers.
Hello.
How cool is that? Imagine your other half being obsessed
collection
with the same car.
Of the same car, but just all the generations of it and all the variants. And
if I go home and say, I want to buy another Volvo, they'll open the door and say, okay, you can leave now then. Why would you buy the same car?
Anyways?
Yeah, true.
You're going to do it anyways.
I was going to do it behind the back. But how cool is that? Imagine having someone in your life that would...
Look, you know what? I imagine my dream house having a garage that can fit 20, 30 cars at least in it. And I want to get a collection, not only of a certain type of car, but I'd definitely get a couple of BMWs in there, a couple of Toyotas.
See, my dream house would be a warehouse, and then I'd have a mattress in the corner.
And have
exactly. And have all the cars parked there. They'll all be nice, and they'll be clean and everything like that, and then I'll be sleeping in the corner by myself. And then I have big farmland so that all the animals...
But have a big car and just have a sleep in it, you know, like put your bed in the car.
I'll buy a motorhome.
Or that.
There we go.
With
Problem
a trailer.
sorted.
That's it. Problem solved.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of In the Driver's Seat with dubizzle. Tell us what your favorite car is and what car would you collect if you had the opportunity. It can be any brand, it can be even any car, it can be the specific trim as well if you're if you really like that specific trim. But of course, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very big.